Your dog hears the door before you have turned the key. By the time you step inside, they are already moving, not towards you, but away from you, deeper into the house. A few seconds pass, then they are back, and there is something in their mouth, a tennis ball, a rope toy, sometimes a sock, a stuffed animal, a slipper that has seen better days. They push it towards you and stand there waiting, eyes on your face, tail moving, holding the thing out like it means something. Most people assume they know what this is. The dog wants to play, or the dog is excited, and this is just what excited dogs do. Both explanations feel right. Both of them are missing something. Because the research on this behavior goes somewhere that almost no one expects, and there is one finding about which dogs actually bring toys, and to whom, that inverts the entire assumption. That finding lands at the end of this video, and it will change how you read this behavior for the rest of your dog's life. Start with what is actually happening in the first seconds after you walk through the door. When a dog greets someone with an object in its mouth, the behavior has a documented parallel in wild canid social behavior. In wolves and free-ranging dogs, carrying an object during a greeting functions as a displacement behavior, a way of managing the intensity of the moment. The mouth needs to be doing something. The physical impulse to jump, to mouth, to make contact is redirected into carrying. The object becomes a channel for arousal that would otherwise have nowhere to go. That's not a gift. That's a coping mechanism. And the distinction matters because it tells you something different about what your dog is experiencing when you walk in the door. The toy is not what they are offering. The toy is what they are doing with the size of the emotion. But displacement explains the mechanics of the moment, not the whole architecture of the behavior, because dogs don't just bring objects when they are overwhelmed. They bring them in quieter moments too. They bring them during fetch, during play, during the long stretch of an afternoon when nothing in particular is happening. To understand why, you have to go further back, to how the dog's brain is wired to hunt. Raymond and Lorna Coppinger, in their work on dog behavior published in 2001, documented what they called the predatory motor sequence, the chain of behaviors that runs from orient, to eye, to stalk, to chase, to grab bite, to kill bite, to dissect, to consume. Every dog carries some version of this sequence. What selective breeding did, particularly in retrievers, was deliberate. It truncated the sequence. The chain runs through chase and grab bite, and then it stops. The dog is neurologically primed to complete a hunt. There is no prey. There is no completion. The toy is the substitute object that allows the sequence to run as far as it can. And when your dog carries it across the room and drops it at your feet, they are handing you the end of a hunt they could not finish alone. Think about that. You are not the audience for a game. You are the endpoint of a biological sequence that has been running in that dog's brain since before they were born. This also explains something owners notice but rarely examine. The dog who retrieves endlessly, who will chase the same ball for an hour and never seem satisfied. The sequence was designed to end in consumption. It never does. The drive stays lit. But the behavior is not only about instinct running its course. There is a social layer underneath it. And this is where the behavior begins to reveal something specific about the bond. Research on resource behavior in dogs has shown that the same dog who guards a high-value object from a stranger will carry that same object toward a bonded human. The act of bringing a possessed item into someone's proximity, rather than away from it, is a social signal. In wolf packs, object proximity and food sharing are documented markers of bond strength. The dog is not just completing a motor sequence when they bring you the toy. They are telling you that you are someone they do not need to guard from. You are inside the circle. That is what the behavior is indexing. Not excitement, not play, though both may be present. Underneath both of them is trust expressed through the logic of resource sharing. There is one more layer to this, and it is the one most owners never see at all. Dogs do not bring toys only when they are happy. Some dogs bring them when they are afraid. Veterinary behavioral literature has documented object carrying as a component of anxiety-driven displacement behavior, the same category of behavior that produces repetitive actions under stress. Some dogs will retrieve and carry objects during thunderstorms, during fireworks, during the particular kind of restlessness that comes before an owner leaves. In those moments, holding something in the mouth has a mild self-regulatory function. The act of carrying appears to reduce arousal through a mechanism similar to the calming effect of chewing. So when your dog appears at your side during a storm with a tennis ball, they are not asking you to throw. They are asking you to help them through something. The toy is not the request. Your presence is. The toy is the only language available for making that ask. Which brings up a question the research has actually tried to answer directly. When a dog brings you a toy, what response are they looking for? Not in general terms. In behavioral terms, what are they watching for? Work on social referencing in dogs. The behavior of checking a human's face before and during an interaction has consistently shown that dogs orient toward the owner's face during object-based exchanges. They are not watching the toy. They are watching you. What they are monitoring is whether you noticed, whether you responded, whether the signal landed. The throw is one possible response, but it is not the only one that satisfies the behavioral request, because the throw was never the point. The point was engagement. The point was the signal from you that you are present and that you see them. You can satisfy the entire exchange without touching the toy. Look at your dog first. Before you reach for it, before you decide what to do with it, look at them. That is the response they have been waiting for. Now, here's where the research takes a turn that most people never see coming. If toy bringing is driven by arousal, by the need to manage an intense social moment through displacement, then the behavior should be most pronounced in the interactions that produce the most arousal. And the interactions that produce the most arousal are the ones with the least familiarity. Behavioral observation of dog greeting behavior has documented that dogs are more likely to greet unfamiliar or less familiar people with an object in their mouth than they are to greet their primary owner that way. Read that again. The toy goes to the stranger or to the person the dog knows less well, not because the dog trusts them more, because the dog needs something to do with the intensity of an encounter that their nervous system has not yet learned how to absorb. With their most bonded person, the one whose presence their nervous system has mapped completely, whose schedule and smell and emotional weather they know, the arousal pattern is different, quieter, more regulated. The greeting does not produce the same spike that requires managing. The dog does not need the object. They simply come to you. Think about what that means for how you have been reading this. The dog who always arrives at the door with something in its mouth is working through the size of the moment. The behavior is real, and it matters. But the dog who has moved past that, who comes to you with empty mouth, who finds your leg and stays there, who looks at your face with something that has no performance in it, that dog has arrived somewhere. The toy bringer has not yet reached. Both are expressions of attachment. They are not the same depth of it. The toy was never really the point. It was the thing your dog could pick up and carry toward what they actually wanted, which was you, registering them in the way that tells their nervous system the world is okay. If you want to understand what happens in that same nervous system the moment you pick up your keys to leave, and why some dogs begin to fall apart before you have even reached the door, that is the next video.